Good evening, goeienaand, fellow South Africans from a coolish Brisbane. Um, I want to pick up on the theme that I was talking about yesterday with enclaves, where you got basically a white population living in a smallish area with control borders and just living within that area. Now, if we look at South African history and we go back to the 1830s with the Voortrekkers, they escaped from the British and they moved up into the Free State and into what is today Gauteng. What's happening right now is that these feral politicians in the South African Parliament, I'm talking particularly about people like the BLF, the EFF, and to some extent even the ANC. What they're advocating is basically a white genocide. I mean, that's what they're talking about. Now, their Achilles heel is that there are several different African tribes, and when the wheels fall off, just like they have faction fights in the Tugela Valley, where you get one Zulu village literally wiping out another Zulu village, violence to them is like a way of life. Okay, we've got to understand that's what it's about. So the white population in South Africa really has to take itself out of that scenario. They have to move to areas where they can protect themselves. And luckily, you've got a group called Saitlanders who already have the infrastructure and the membership to form almost like a small army in these potentially white enclaves. Now, where the white enclaves are is not really what I'm on about here, but all I'm saying is that I really believe that that's the way forward for a large percentage of South Africans who have elderly family members. They don't want to move. They're too old to move. All these different reasons that they can't move. Because staying in places like, I'll give you an example. I think Sandton, for example, is, I know it's very upmarket. I know there are a lot of white people living there. But I think it's a very, very dangerous place to be. The sort of places where enclaves, white enclaves, could be formed are like, I mentioned Cape Town, obviously Orania. I think a lot of the Cape, especially along the coastline, there could be white enclaves there. And of course in places like Winterton, which is in the Drakensberg area of Natal, and moving on towards Champagne Castle. That whole area could be, you've got a natural barrier, which is the Drakensberg, so you've got your backs covered, and all you have to then do is protect the front area. Now, talking about protecting the front area, I mean, there's another situation here. There are a lot of indigenous Africans who don't have the same hatred as the Bantu and Nguni people seem to have for whites. In the Cape, for example, I mean, the Griqua would be a natural partner for the white population. They've got a big community near Plettenberg Bay. They've got a large farm called Kranshoek down there, and their leader is wonderful. I mean, he's a lovely guy, and I know that they would embrace some kind of union with the white population. I think in Cape Town there are again a lot of coloured people who would be very happy to be involved in some kind of an allegiance there. And I think even in Natal, I think the king of the Zulus, surprisingly enough, and we don't want to repeat what happened to Piet Retief, but I think the king of the Zulus would be very interested in some kind of an alliance with an enclave of whites in the Drakensberg area, which is really an area that traditionally the Zulus hadn't occupied. I don't know what other solution, apart from migrating out of South Africa, that you've got. So what I'm advocating here is that what the brains in South Africa should be doing is actually looking at where white enclaves like Orania can be set up, and then people moving out of there and moving out of other areas and moving into those enclaves, and then fortifying those enclaves using groups like Saitlanders and their expertise. And of course, the first type of people that you'd want to move into these areas are the most exposed. You know, the poor whites who live in squatter camps, and the elderly. You know, those are the sort of people you want to move into a secure area where they can actually be safe. It's actually quite an exciting challenge when you think about it, because once you've got these enclaves or these secure areas, which are basically white, the Africans, they'll be fighting amongst each other, and they'll be wiping each other off the map, because that's what they do. I mean, they're just it's only because of that period going up to 1994, where you had a basically white government. And look, I don't agree with apartheid at all, but what's happened now is that the whole system in South Africa is regressing. It's getting more and more dangerous. Charlatans like Malema are becoming more and more outrageous with their comments, and they don't care. You know, they can get away with murder. Nothing matters. So the white population has now got to take care of itself. If you don't have a road out of South Africa, you've got to set up these little enclaves. As I said, the Winterton Champagne Castle area is a perfect one with the backdrop, and I'm sure that the whites there could actually form an alliance with the Zulus in KwaZulu-Natal. The Cape Town area is another excellent one. Grahamstown could probably be another enclave. But having Saitlanders as almost like the police force, the security force, the army, whatever you like to call them, and having these secure areas, I don't see how else South Africa or the whites in South Africa are going to move forward, because the parliament is just feral, and trying to be out there by yourself in a house in Sandton or in Krugersdorp or Roodepoort or wherever, you are just open to attack, and it's not going to get better. So I'll leave you with that thought, but we'll keep on talking about this. Okay, guys, I hope you have a great day, and alles van die beste. Tot ziens.